God. Ask God.
Hi, Scott. This is Oleg Pikar. I have a question. As far as finding a product and going to AliExpress and testing it out, do I list it under the same ASINs that I've located the similar products, or do I create my own listing and list it in that category with other sellers? So that's my basic question. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the question. I would try to pronounce your first name, but it was kind of muffled there, so I apologize, and I don't want to butcher your name. So I apologize, but thank you so much for submitting your question. And this is a great question, and I actually wanted to address it because this could be a little confusing. All right. Now, what we're talking about is if we're talking about like finding a product that we want to test really fast, like rapidly, like I'm talking like a wholesale. It's like you're wholesaling. If you're going to AliExpress, or even Alibaba wholesale. There's a whole section there, guys. If you don't know that, if you go over to Alibaba and you look for wholesale, you'll see stuff is in stock right now on the shelf, ready to go. Now, with that being said, you are risking doing that, being just like everyone else. And then, from there, having hijackers jump on and all that stuff. But if you do your product research properly and you're finding products that are not competitive yet, I use the word yet with quotes, air brackets, whatever you want to call them, because, it's just a matter of time that if you have a generic product, someone's going to copy you. What this is to do is really validate that this type of product will sell. And then from there, you can build upon that. Okay. And it doesn't work for everything. It's going to be like a small test order. It might be like 25. And if you sell those 25, then you're off to the races. I know my good friend, Steve Chu, he talks about doing this and then selling them on eBay. And if he sells it on eBay, then he's kind of validated that it'll sell. And he actually did that. And now they have this 7-figure business, that they've built from scratch. And it really came down to them doing, kind of like a test order in a sense and selling the rest of them on eBay. So you can definitely do it. But what you're asking is, what do I do? Do I find a product on Amazon that is like the same product or similar product and then I list on their listing? No, you would not do that. That's what we call hijacking, by the way. That's where you would go on a listing, you would find the exact same item. Now, preferably, you're not going to want to find the exact same item that's selling on Amazon of that generic product. Like that would be maybe a red flag that you don't want to do. Because you don't want to look like everyone else. And if you do find something like that, then you'd want to make your own listing too, because you'd want to have your own listing. You don't want to share the buy box. All right. So when we're talking about testing using AliExpress or Alibaba or any other wholesale type site, you want to create your own listing. And here's the deal. Once you make your own listing, create it as a listing or as a variation. As a variation. And very important here. Because here's what you can do. Let's say that you list that product, you create a listing, and then you start to get some sales, and you go, okay, cool, this is validated, but it's just a generic product. I want to modify this thing. I want to sell this thing, but I want to modify it, do better packaging. Well, now what you can do is you can just create another variation underneath that same listing, and now you don't have to start from scratch. Any reviews you got can carry over. All of the SEO factor as far as inside of Amazon, the ranking, all that stuff will stay. And all you're doing then is you're just modifying and kind of creating another variation. So this way here, it's like new and improved. Or maybe this other one that you're selling has an additional accessory to it, okay? And then that now allows you to not be just like everyone else. But you might just want to take that generic one and let that run out of inventory, and then that variation will kind of disappear in a sense, where it's not going to be there for you to sell against on that particular listing. You could always just close out the variation if you wanted to, but I would say just let it run out of inventory and then start a brand new variation underneath that listing. And that's why it's important when you're doing anything as far as listing a product, even if you don't think it'll be a variation, set up that listing as a variation. Okay, a listing, it's going to be a parent plus a child. And then from there, you can always add a variation later. All right. So hopefully this has helped you or anyone else that's thinking about doing this. Go to AliExpress, go to Alibaba or wholesale and to test out products before you actually go all in. I think it's a smart idea. It's very similar to retail arbitrage too. We have a class right now called 1K Fast Track, and these guys are able to go out there and test products. They're name brand products, but they're at least able to say, oh my gosh, like there's a lot of stuff selling in this market or in this category. Now I'm going to start digging a little bit deeper and then coming up with your own product or an accessory for a game or whatever. It allows you to get into different categories without having to have this huge investment up front. So hopefully that helped you. If you guys want to submit a question, head over to theamazingseller.com/ask, and you can do that. I want to also, again, remind you guys, if you're brand new and this is your first time to the show, I want to welcome you. I love hanging out with you guys. This is just awesome to be able to virtually connect like this. And that's why I love the Ask Scott sessions. But if you are brand new and you're just getting your feet wet and you don't understand the entire process, the entire business model, I would recommend attending one of my live free workshops. This is where I break it down for you in 5 phases: how to pick a market and a product, how to source it, how to do a pre-launch, how to do a launch, how to promote the product, and everything in between. We go over that on a workshop, and we go through every single thing. We also do live Q&A. So if you want to attend one of them, I would love to invite you to the next one, and you can register for the next one by heading over to theamazingseller.com/workshop, and you can register there for an upcoming workshop. Well, hey there. Thank you so much for listening to that episode of Ask Scott. Now, that was just a highlight from one of our full episodes where I generally answer 3 to 4 questions on a podcast. If you want to go back and listen to all of the past archives of not just the Ask Scott session, but all of the full episodes where I do interviews with top Amazon sellers, people starting from scratch and building a business, if you want to listen to any of those episodes, head over to theamazingseller.com and you can find all of that over there. You can also find details there on how you can ask your own question and get it aired on an upcoming Ask Scott session and possibly see it here on YouTube or just on the podcast. All right, so definitely head over to theamazingseller.com. There's tons of resources over there for you to be able to build your e-commerce and Amazon business. So definitely go check that out. Now, I just wanted to remind you one thing before I let you go. There's a lot of information out there and some of it is really, really good. What I want you to remember is you have to not just consume the information, you have to actually apply that information. So take this information that you learned here today and apply it to your business. And this way here, you can get results. As my shirt says, I wear it almost daily. Take action. We'll see you guys.